Hi, my name is David Harden, and I am going to give a seminar on internship information session. What we're going to talk about today is academic internships and what needs to happen and what you need to do when, and just to help you get through the whole process. So we're going to talk about course requirement and grading. We're going to talk about internship best practices and expectations and professional conduct. Before we get started, I want to say a word about the pandemic. Yes, we are over the pandemic from what we're told, but there's still a lot of residuals. You may run into some issues in your internship that are affected by the pandemic. Don't get upset, don't get panicky. If something is happening, please contact your on-site supervisor, your faculty supervisor, or Kim Brandt or myself. We'd be happy to help in whatever way we can. The academic internships is more than a job. It is also a course. You get a full unit's worth of credit. And so what we want to do is kind of walk through this with you and talk about it and try to ease any kind of questions that you might be having. So there are things to do before your internship, and some of you probably are already in your internship. So there are things to do during your internship and some things to do after your internship and the grading as well. So some of the things that we're going to talk about, the first thing we're going to talk about is course requirement or your syllabus overview. When you went on Hanover Connect, you filled out and went to experience or added a new experience, you filled out the application for the academic internship. Then you were to click on the academic internship proposal and SMART goals, academic internship SMART goals. When you finished those, we looked at them and we either said, yes, you need a little bit more, or these are good, or you do need a little bit more information. So just wanted to give a background of that. Excuse me. But during your internship, there are some things that you probably will need to be doing to keep in mind. One of those things is just keep in mind your goals, the goals that you wrote, what you worked with your faculty supervisor. So we want you to keep in mind of those things. But beyond that, there are some things you need to do academically. Some of you have been required to do academic journals or in weekly journals. And these are reflective journals. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but they're reflective. They're not Dear Diary Today I Did type of journals. They are more of how does this fit with what I'm doing? How does this fit in the discipline that I'm doing my internship with? From time to time, you may need to talk with your faculty supervisor, or you might need to talk to Kim Brandt or myself, and we'd be happy to sit down and talk with you or to talk over the phone with you. Also, if your faculty supervisor has assigned papers, you might want to get started on that so that you are doing your papers during the summer rather than waiting until the fall when you have a lot of other things going on. The idea for academic internship is to do the work while you're doing the internship, doing the academic work while you're doing the physical work. So that's another thing that you should be keeping in mind. After your internship is over, or near the time your internship is over or coming to an end, we will send it internship on-site supervisor evaluation for your internship. And they will fill that out and send it back to us. That is typically worth 10% of your grade. And because that's about what we ask faculty to do with participation in their classroom. So it's about 10% of their grade. And so we want you to do that. We also will ask you to fill out on the Moodle page, we'll ask you to fill out a website description. And that's a description of your internship. And the reason we do that is so that future interns can see what people have done, students have done before them, and get an idea what they would like to do. Some of you might have to rewrite or update your resume. BSP students would need to update the resume. And so that would need to be done. If you're not BSP, updating your resume is a good practice. It's considered something that we all need to do from time to time. You just finished a internship. This would be the perfect time to update your resume as well. And also, you will need to do a final presentation and your final or your analytical essay. Those are the things that will be due in the fall. For the internship proposal, we talked about that, and I'll go through this fairly quickly because you probably have already filled it out, but I'll just remind you of what you did and the importance of it. So this should look very familiar to most of you. It's the internship proposal guidelines. And so what we're asking you to do in this first box is to tell us about the organization where you're doing your internship. And the purpose for that is so that the reader knows that you know what you're getting into. We're not just placing you blindly into a internship, but it's something that you've chosen for yourself, and we're here to support you through that. But we need to know that you know what you're getting into. The next box talks about, or as asking for your responsibilities, what you'll be doing during your internship. So what you'd fill out here is pretty much what you and your on-site supervisor have agreed to do for this internship. The third box down on the page, this box, what you're going to be putting in this is we're asking for what classes have prepared you for this internship. And of course, it'll be your classes in the discipline that you're doing it in, but we hope that there'll be other classes. As a liberal arts college, we believe that all of our classes come together to help you be who you are. So say you're doing a COM 357 internship, and your main responsibility is social media and press releases. So what you're going to be doing here is you're thinking of what classes that you've taken that will help you with that. So of course, all your communication classes, but maybe an English class, a writing class, maybe an art class, maybe a creative writing class, maybe a philosophy class, maybe a biology class. So what we're doing is trying to ask you to think beyond the discipline that you're doing your internship in. The next box is asking who your on-site supervisor is and how you'll be working with that person. How often will you meet with them, what kind of accountability, and so on. The next box is about your faculty supervisor and who is your faculty supervisor and how are you going to be working with that person? How often will you meet with them? There will be a Moodle page that's created, and so you can communicate with your faculty supervisor through Moodle, but you can also communicate in whatever way you and your faculty supervisor have agreed to. If they would prefer text, then you can text. If they would prefer phone calls, you can phone call. If they prefer whatever they prefer, you can communicate in that way. At this point, I typically will jump to SMART goals, and I will talk about SMART goals in a little bit. But the reason I jumped to SMART goals here is because the next box that you need to fill out is about your reading requirement. And the reading requirement is based on what you're wanting to get out of your internship, what your goals are for your internship. So if you are a COM 357 intern and you're doing social media, you're going to be reading about how to communicate best through social media. Your faculty will be able to help you with readings that will help you in that way. So that's what you do here. And you're going to talk with your faculty member and your on-site supervisor to get a list of readings that will help you meet your goals. This next box is the academic internship work. We're asking you, what will you be doing to make this an academic internship? So the two things that are non-negotiable, the things that you have to do, you'll have to do a presentation at the end of your internship, and you'll have to do an analytical essay at the end of your internship. Those two are things that you have to do. So you should write that in there. But beyond that is between you and your faculty member to discern what needs to happen. Sometimes faculty will have students write a paper based on each of their goals. Sometimes faculty will have students write a paper based on each of their readings. Sometimes a faculty will have a student keep a reflective journal. So these are the things that you'll be talking about. You'll also have a on-site supervisor's evaluation, as we talked about before. That is worth 10% of your grade. So what you talk about here in the grading portion of this document, you need to reflect a weight for each one of the things you've talked about here. So in this section, this rubric represents a BSP rubric. So if you're a BSP student, these are the things that you are going to be graded on. You're going to do an academic paper worth 15% of your grade. You're going to do an on-site supervisor's evaluation worth 10% of your grade. Reflective journals worth 20% of your grade. Your SMART goals are 15%, your academic proposal 10%, your internship web description is 5%, your presentation is 10% or 20%, and so on. So whatever you have, whatever you're doing, whatever you and your faculty have agreed upon, that needs to come to 100%. So that's where we're working on that there. The next part is we're going to talk about the SMART goals. So SMART goals it's an acronym, and it means specific, measurable, attainable. This print is very small for me. Attainable, realistic, and timely. So we want you to write your goals based on those things. So is your goal specific enough? Is your goal measurable? When will you know that you've met your goal? Is it attainable? Is it something that you can do, or is it too grand? Is it realistic? Is it something that really fits your internship, or is it something that's just out there? And is it timely? Can you get it done in the time that you have for your internship? As I talked about earlier, we talked about journals. And on the Moodle page, there will be a section for journals. If your faculty has required you to do a journal, this is where you do that. If they have not required you to do a journal, I would still encourage you to do a journal, because it's through journaling, through reflection, that we oftentimes learn. So, and it can be as simple as, what did I know coming into this experience? What is the new information that I've been given? And what difference does it make? It's as simple as that. So you could easily do a journal like that on a weekly basis. I would encourage you to do that. And this is where you'd put that. This is what it will look like on your Moodle page. For BSP, your last journal entry is your resume, and that will go in your journal grade point. For those of you that are not in BSP and you would like to update your resume, you can do that in your journal, or you can just do that on your own. During your internship, again, you're doing your journals. There will, on this column, there may or may not be, depending on how gas prices are going, but we may or may not be able to visit you during the internship. And if we don't, hopefully we can get in touch with you and have a Zoom conversation with you if we can't have a face-to-face. But what we're looking for here is to find out how things are going, how we can help you with your internship, how we can, if we'd like to talk with your on-site supervisor and find out how things are going, and if there's something that we need to know that will help you be a better intern. And so these are the things that we're looking for here. When it comes to that, we will reach out to you and see if there's a way we can have you set up some times that we could meet. The other thing that is important during the internship is there are plenty of people here on campus in our department, your faculty supervisor, your on-site supervisor that's willing to help you in whatever way we can to make this a success for you. So if you have any concerns, any questions, please let us know. You can call us and we can have a conference call. We're here to help you in that way. Things to do after your internship. After the internship, we will have a post-internship evaluation. And so we will ask you to evaluate your experience. This will help us to know whether students are, or whether we should place students or help students work at a certain place. If you had a particularly great experience, we'd love for our students to work or to do an internship there in the future. If you've had a particularly poor experience, we'd like to know that too, so that we can avoid placing students in those internships in the future as well. There will be a section on the Moodle page for the web description. Again, if you're BSP, this is a requirement. If you're not BSP, we'd still love for you to do this so that we can advertise and celebrate with you. We can celebrate with you and we can advertise to future interns that these are top possible internship topics that they can look into as well. This is what a website would look like, and you'll have a picture of you, the company name and their logo, and then a reflective piece over here that will tell a little bit about their internship. After your internship also, there will be a time that we would do presentations. Presentations can either be video presentations, they can be poster presentations, or they can be in-person presentations. This will be up between you and your faculty supervisor. If there also can be done in a classroom as well. So our hope and goal is to have all the presentations and essays done before Thanksgiving, so that after students come back, so when students come back after Thanksgiving, they have their finals that they work and focus on and not worry about the internship academic work. Each year there are times where a student may or may not be able to finish their internship, and they contact us and we will work with them and talk with them about that. If something happens that you feel like you cannot finish your internship, please contact us as soon as you know, so that we can work with you and see if there's any way we can salvage what you've put into it, or if it's something that we need to pull out of. And some things are unknown to us. So if there's a family emergency, or if you've broken a bone or you've gotten sick, we can work with you and we can get you out of the class and save you from getting a low grade on that. But if you're doing poorly in your internship and you just want to blow it off, or you just decide not to go, and you feel that your on-site supervisor is going to fire you, talk to us about that too, and we can encourage you. We can brainstorm on ways to get through this. But it's important to know, if you're doing it for BSP and you get fired, or you don't complete your BSP program, and so that's important. Some reasons to act responsible in your internship, and we hope that you always act responsible. And so we want you to realize that you're getting graded for this. So it's important to go. It's important to have a professional attitude, but it's important to go because it's going to affect your GPA. Most internship grades are high, not all of them, but most of them are high. And they're often high because students are realizing that the theory that they're learning in the classroom all of a sudden is making sense now. It's making sense in a practical way. And so you're having aha moments. So it's kind of fun. So it's important to keep in mind that you're getting graded on this, but it's also important to keep in mind that what you do will have an effect on your on who you are in the future in jobs. So it's your post evaluation will affect your professional behavior or they can highlight your unprofessional behavior. So that's important to know. We look at your future. This will affect your future. The 63%, as it says here, 63% of students who do a paid internship get positions either in that company or in companies much like that, because the hiring managers know that you can do the job. 36% of the unpaid internships, same thing. So the problem with the unpaid, though, is that these are typically great internships. They're not bad internships. They're great internships, but they're internships for companies that are not for profit, companies that are educational. Oftentimes, government internships are not paid, things like that. So it's important to keep in mind that how I perform could affect whether I get a job or another internship in the future. Also, your reputation is here. So when you are applying for a job at the end of your 4 years at Hanover, you will be asked who is a reference for you. And oftentimes, if you've done an internship, they would like to talk to your supervisor to see how you were in that experience. So your reputation is at stake. So you want to be professional because of that. Also, Hanover's reputation is at stake. We work very hard to have good internship partnerships with companies in Indiana and Kentucky and Ohio and across the country, because we've had such great interns in the past, and we want to continue to have great interns in the future. So we're counting on you to be a good representative of Hanover College to these companies. There are reasons why you could get fired. And if you are fired in an internship, you will fail the internship course. The organization, oftentimes organizations have zero tolerance for rules that are broken, or many offenses of rules and behaviors. And so we want you to keep in mind that there are consequences to what you do. Failure to complete an internship means that you failed your academic course, and that will reflect on your transcript. So those things are important to you. They're important to you. They're important to Hanover. So please keep that in mind. We've talked about responsible or acting responsible. What is responsible acting? One key thing is dress appropriately. So when you are interviewing or looking at internships, so now that you're at your internship, find out or be aware of what other people there are wearing. If it's a law office, you're going to want to wear business casual. If it's a camp, shorts and sandals and a t-shirt. But don't switch the two necessarily. If you're at a law office and you come in shorts and sandals and a t-shirt, that will reflect on you poorly. If you're at a camp and you come in business casual, that could be very difficult to maneuver through the woods in business casual. So wear clothing that is appropriate for the company that you're working at. If they have a company polo, wear the company polo when you're supposed to wear the company polo. Starting times and working full days is important. If you're continually late, that will look poorly on you. That'll reflect poorly on you. If you are continually asking if you're continually asking to leave early, then that'll also reflect. It is our hope that if the time to start is at 9 o'clock and you go until 4 o'clock, that you might get there at 8:45 and leave a little after 4 instead of right at 9 and right at 4. So it's important to arrive early and stay late. Another thing that you want to do is if you have an appointment, you know that you have an appointment coming up, talk with your supervisor and let them know that that's coming up, and let them know that you're willing to work extra hours to fill in that time. Things to avoid in an internship is you don't want to be carrying your phone around with you all the time and looking to see what's going on Instagram or what's going on TikTok or what's going on in Facebook. If your job is to manage social media, then of course you need to do that, but do that for the company and not for you. Don't take non-business phone calls or doing non-business jobs with your phone while you're at work. And don't text other people while you're at work. Oftentimes when a student starts their internship, they're given a handbook or orientation that will help you to know what to do, what's expected. Take notes. If it's an orientation, if it's a handbook, read through it and find out what is expected of you so that you can be a good employee. Some things to do to act responsibly is to stay away from office romances, stay away from alcohol. If you're at an office party and there's alcohol and it's inappropriate for you not to have a beer or a glass of wine, then have that, but carry it around. Don't drink it. At least don't drink more than one while you're there. Believe me, people will be noticing how much you drink. Also, something that you need to stay away from is gossip. Office gossip is terrible. Gossip in general is terrible, but office gossip is not good, and that will be seen if you take place in, or if you participate in that. Also, complaining about the office. It does no one any good to complain about their work. If you need to vent, there are other places to vent other than in your office. You can vent to Kim Brandt or myself, to your faculty supervisor, or any of us in the Career Center. You can call us and say, hey, there's something going on that I just need to get this out of my head, so I need to talk about it, and then I'll be ready to go back and work on it. And we're happy to do that. Other topics to avoid are politics. We are in a volatile situation in our country with politics, so stay away from that. If you get involved in politics, sometimes people just stop talking. So just stay away from politics. Stay away from money talk, talking about how much you're making as an intern, or asking how much different people are making. That's nobody's business but our own. Stay away from sex talk. Again, nobody's business but our own. And other controversial topics. I would add religious to that. So what you need to do prior to your internship is, and hopefully you've done most of these things, You need to do, if you're getting a stipend from the college, you need to write a stipend agreement, fill out or sign a stipend agreement, Title IX form, give them your social security number. If you'll need to do an insurance release form, and you'll need to do an internship contract. And those will all be sent to you if they haven't been sent already. You also don't be afraid to call either your on-site supervisor or your faculty supervisor or to us, and we can work with you on any questions you have about what do I do when type of thing. When you start your position there, if you're getting paid there, you'll have to have your social security card or a proof of identity. You can have driver's license or a passport. This is to help them set up a payment schedule for you. You'll also want to be sure your housing is secured and you know how to get from where you're living to your job. And you need to have the right amount of clothes that you could wear to your job and back. I'll skip this part because the case studies typically are when we have this session on a face-to-face basis. So I'll skip this portion and go to questions. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can call us at the Levitt Career Center or email us. My email is harden@hanover.edu, HARDEN@hanover.edu, and I can pass the question on to anyone who might be able to answer better than me, and one of us will get back with you. I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know if there's anything that I missed, and I'll be happy to add that to the future presentation. Thanks so much.